Hello children, welcome to social science class. Today we are going to see the solutions for the practice questions which are given in the Leadschool. So first let's move on to the first question, that is of identify and write the news headlines given below that show inequality in your notebook. So this is an example which I can give for you. So if it is asked in your examination, means you can observe the news from on that particular day and you can write what are the thing that has been shown the inequality between the people. So here you can see the Dalit boy beaten over entry into the temple. So this sentence shows that the Dalit boy has entered into the temple so that he was beaten. So the next thing is of Delhi University raises the fees of their course from 2000 to 2 lakhs. So you can see the variation, right? Then Lok Sabha elections set for June. So here it has been changed automatically. Then no holiday for government employees on December 25th. So here you can see the variations that shows the inequality in the between the people, right? So here you can see in the first sentence. So here the discrimination of caste has been done. And here you can see the discriminations of the background, like family background. So those who are having money, they can able to pay the money and learn. But what about the poor people? So here you can see. And here whoever may change, it was changing. So in the last sentence you can see in the government employees that differs, like for example, it depends on the discrimination of religion, because all the for example, for the Hindu community, if they give the leave for Diwali, means if they give the leave for Diwali, but the Christian religion, if they didn't give the leave, means what will happen there you can see the lack of partiality was there. The lack of partiality was happening there for the religion. So here you can see the discrimination of the caste through the background of the family and the people and among the religion. So here you can see the inequality among the people by different in our Indian constitution. Okay, so this should be avoided. And the second question is of based on the stories that you read from the textbook and the two stories given below, fill in the table on the next page with information about the different forms of inequality. So here we all know about the story of Valmiki, Mr. and Mrs. Ansari, and then that Anil story, Simran story and all, we know about it. So let us see the story name and who is being treated unequally there and what will be the feeling about that particular person. So that is the column given for you. So you need to fill it with these kinds of answer. So you may write it some other thing also. So here in the Kanta story, you all know where the Kanta was living, that particular area was not cleaned properly because it is a poor area, it's a slum area. So no one is there to take care of that particular area. So that was the thing. But if the rich people were living, means that kind of person area will be very clean enough, isn't it? So here you can see in the Kanta story how Kanta felt like that he was unequal with others, means Kanta is being treated unequally. She does not have access to proper sanitation and health facilities because she is poor. So as she was poor, she was not having the proper health facilities. As we all know that when she go for the doctor, she saw a huge queue was standing in the hospital. Only the poor people are standing there. So this shows why the differentiation between among the people, right? And how will be the emotions of Kanta will be she'll be thinking that we are helpless, isn't it? So this is the thing, variation it was given in the story. And the next story is about Om Prakash Valmiki. So you all know that he was mentioned as untouchability, right? So here how she has treated unequally, means Om Prakash Valmiki is being treated unequally. He is not allowed to sit with other students in the class due to the caste. So here you can see the caste, the Dalit child. So he is a boy from the Dalit. So he was refused to sit near the other children. So how will be the feeling of that particular boy? So he felt like alone and sad all the time, right? And the next question shows that that is of about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari. So we all know that. So the house owners, they denied to give a house for rent, isn't it? So here Mr. and Mrs. sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Ansari are being treated unequally because they are denied a house on rent due to their religion. So here the religion based. So they are all the house owners are refusing to give the house for rent. So how will be the emotions of Mr. and Mrs. Ansari is of he was very disappointed and humiliated, right? And the next story is about Simran. So here you can see Simran is being treated unequally. How? So the family is leaving the brother to the school and Simran has to sit in the home and she has to look after the household work. So is this fine? No. So here she was treated unequally. She is not allowed to go to school as she is a girl. So here you can see the gender equality. So only the boy has to go. The girl should not go to the school. She has to look after the household work. So this is happening in the Simran story, and how will be the emotions of Simran? She will feel very sad. Then the next story is about Anil's story. That is of Anil. Anil, you all know that Anil is of disability child, isn't it? So here the school is not giving separate game or they are not conducting separate sports for such kind of children, right? So here Anil is being treated unequally. The school has not included any sports in which he can participate. So how will be the feeling of that particular boy? Is of he get disappointed and he was annoyed, isn't it? So these are the 5 stories we learned from this lesson. So we come to know how the people are treated unequal among all the people. So how will be their emotions? So each and as we saw yesterday, each and every person needs a self-respect, isn't it? So even he is a disability or from different caste or from for example for discrimination of color, whatever it is. So each and every person needs the self-respect. That is very important, isn't it? So they may get disappointed, they may get sad, they may feel very sad and so many things. So they are also human beings and they couldn't continue. So continue what about their work. So the government has let out so many laws for these unequally treated people. So let us see what are the laws has been arranged for by them. So here is the another thing. In which of the situation below do you think someone's dignity is being violated? Support your answers with reasons. So here you can see there are 4 situations which is given for you. So you have to say whether their dignity has been violated or not violated. Okay. So let us see that with the reason now. So the first situation is of the Ullas was rejected in a job interview because he did not have the required qualification. For example, if a person is going for a job, so he or she should have the required qualification, but because she should qualify for that particular job. So if he or she is not qualified, means they won't appoint for the job, isn't it? So here the thing is, Ulla's dignity was not violated because his rejection was based on his qualification or not on the amount of wealth he has or his color or his caste. So they didn't see whether he is rich or poor or about his caste or about his color. They are seeing only the qualification, whether he can work, whether he is eligible for that work they are seeing. So this we can't say that Ulla's dignity was violated here. But when we see the second sentence that Radhika was not allowed to speak on the annual day function because of the company because she was a woman. So here what they are saying, the women could not speak. It's why she should not speak. So instead of woman, the man has to speak, it seems. So here they are saying the discrimination of the gender. So Radhika's dignity was violated here because she was discriminated against based on her gender. Then the next question is of Vikas was travelling by train without a ticket. So the ticket collector found him and asked him to get off the train at the next stop. Is this the correct situation? Yes, because the government has given the law to maintain the order for us, isn't it? For example, one person is travelling from one place to another place, she has to pay the money. So that was the government order. So here he is disobeying the disobeying the order given by the government here, right? So here you can see Vika's dignity was not violated here, as she was fined and she has to get on from the train in the next stop. Here it was not violated because he was punished for not following the law. She didn't pay the money for that, isn't it? So this is the thing happened in this situation. And the next situation is of a bus driver allows only the so-called upper caste people to ride his bus. So here you can see the discrimination of caste. So here they are seeing according to the caste, they are taking the person in the bus. So the dignity of the people belonging to the so-called lower caste is violated because they are being discriminated against based on their caste. So these are the situations we are seeing how they are violated by their dignity. The next thing is of, you are going to see, write down one constitutional right supporting equality that is not followed and one that is followed in your community. So you can write so many examples. So which, for example, the constitutional has given equality among so many things, right? But which has been followed and which is not followed, you are going to mention. So here is an example given for you. The constitutional right that is not followed in my community is the right to equality. So many people in my locality keep separate utensils for the domestic help. This is for not followed. Not only in this, for example, the color, discrimination of color is happening, caste, religion, the place birth. So everything are happening here due to the right to equality. So this has to be changed. This should not be followed, isn't it? And which has been given freedom for that is of the constitutional right that is generally followed in my community is the freedom of speech and expression. So you can express your feelings through your speech, isn't it? So that is the right given for you in with the Indian Constitution. So this has to be followed and above things should not be followed. So with this you can make some other answers. Then the next question is of, fill in the blank boxes in the table. So here you can see the laws. Which are the laws? 4 laws you can see, and form of inequality it addresses. Then how does it help in promoting equality? We are going to see. The first law is of the Disabilities Act. So you all know with this act itself we will come to know. So this act has been followed for the disabled person. So here so many changes have been introduced by the government. So as we learnt in the SPL NCRT book, we have seen so many things introduced that the disabled person has been given free education, and ramps have been built in so many public places, and the important thing, the government job, the priority in government jobs have been given for them. So all these kinds of things has been introduced by the government for the Disabilities Act. So here inequality based on disability. So here provides reservation for disabled people to bring them in the mainstream with the rest of the society. So here the government is giving more importance for the disabled people. So also makes public places like government hospitals, colleges accessible by providing infrastructural support like making ramps with the stairs. So here you can see one side, it will be in our school itself, you can see so many ramps. For example, between there will be principal room and either sides you can see the ramps over there. So the disabilities, they won't feel such we cannot move up like that, isn't it? So they too feel that we are also one person that everyone can obey, right? Then the next act is of the Equal Remuneration. So Remuneration Act, that means it was given for the genders. For example, if a boy and a girl, for example a man and a woman working in a concern, so both of them should be paid the correct salary. That means the same salary should be followed for both the genders, isn't it? So here inequality based on income and gender. So here you can see makes it compulsory to pay both men and women equal wages for similar work. So as they were working for the same work, they should be paid equally. Then the next act is of the Right to Education Act. That is of it's a compulsory for the age 6 to 14 years. It's a compulsory to get educated, and it was given. The government has been instructed that children given for free education, isn't it? So here inequality based on whether one is rich or poor. So it's how it promotes the equalities of, it ensures free and compulsory education to all children between 6 and 14 years. Then the midday meal program. So we all know about the midday meal program. So it was introduced by the Kamarajar and later on it was implemented by the Supreme Court, isn't it? Supreme Law. So here you can see inequality based on nutrition. So for example, when a child was hunger, he couldn't continue his studies or you couldn't learn well, isn't it? So the most important thing which was lacking in the children was nutrition. So if we give the enough of nutrition, the child can overcome each and every problem. So here the government decided to provide the nutritious meals to children under the age of 14 in all government and government aided schools. So these are the 4 acts we saw that there are so many acts has been bring, but here we saw only 4 acts, that is of the Disabilities Act, the Equal Remuneration Act, the Right to Education Act and the Midday Meal Program. So with this I'll end up the class and I'll post all these question answers in your Google Classroom. Kindly copy those questions alone and learn it. But for example, there are some example questions which I gave, like what is the constitutional, like write down one constitutional right which has been followed and which is not followed, I told you. So this you can make some other example like, and I showed you some situations like, isn't it? So these questions and all you can just go through it, and if it is asked in the examination you can write in your own words. Thank you, dear children.